Of PicksDepot.com. Here it is, the Sharp Bettors report in college football. For week 3 of the college football season, I've got 6 winners up right now for college football for Saturday, including the Interconference Total of the year. I do have a noon Eastern start, and then all the other winners come after 3:30 Eastern time, including a couple of Wise Guy plays. And Wise Guy plays from Joe Duffy's Picks, the strongest play in the handicapping industry. We've got a lot to tell you about on this report. Why don't we start it out with the Sharp Players report? We're going to tell you who the public is betting, and for those of you who believe in contrarian picks, you would actually bet opposite of these. First, we're going to talk about the percentage of tickets, and I'll review the difference between the percentage of tickets and the percentage of money in a minute. But these are the biggest bets on Saturday, according to the regular rotation games. We do have Kentucky is the biggest public consensus play. Actually, that's a added rotation game. So the added rotation games are getting some of the biggest discrepancies. Liberty over Old Dominion, a big public bet, the biggest public bet of the week on the regular rotation games. Coastal Carolina, a road favorite to Buffalo. Of course, a lot of people think Coastal Carolina may be in statement territory. They've got to make that statement to the national voters. Marshall against East Carolina. Cincinnati, a small road favorite, is also a big public bet, and Texas A&M. Those are really the biggest based on the percentage of bets. Now let's go to the percentage of money. Now, for contrarian purposes, to be honest with you, and I do use contrarian, don't weigh it as heavily as I used to, but to me, it's always been about the percentage of bets. Why? You want to really fade the $5 and $10 better every bit as much as you want to fade the $1,000 better. So it's really that Joey Bag of Donuts that's betting, the $5 and $10 three-team parlays if you believe in contrarian bets. That's why I always base my contrarian stuff on the percentage of bets, but I do have a weighted scale how I do it, where the favorites aren't weighted as heavily as underdogs, and a lot of people who use contrarians will tell you public dogs will go to die, or I think on VEASAN they like to call them chic underdogs or something like that. But yeah, that is true. That as far as it's not pure numbers for me, the way I measure it, I have a different system. Now, the biggest bets in terms of money, and I'm going to even go with some totals, but these are all sides. Texas A&M, Clemson, Oklahoma, North Texas. So these would be the biggest sportsbook liabilities. The sportsbooks are rooting against those teams, and that's another philosophy I heard. I do know at least one person who says, no, he really prefers, when he bets contrarian, to bet against the money. Why? Because if you're rooting for who the sportsbooks are, you're going to win long term. Sportsbooks always win in the long term. So rooting for the same teams that the sportsbooks are so there's different philosophies, but I still say fading the number of bets is really the stronger way to use contrarian. Now, we do have a sharp versus square. Some people would call it pros versus Joes, where the money is on one side and maybe the number of tickets are on the other side. So these would be the teams to bet on. The other ones, if you're a contrarian, you would be betting against those teams. But the sharp versus squares, the teams that this philosophy would say to bet on, would be Tulsa, Air Force, and Temple. Let's do the same thing when it comes to the totals are concerned. The biggest totals bets in terms of percentage of bets would be the Middle Tennessee State game to go over the total, and a big drop-off there, Utah to go over the total. So they're really the biggest consensus. Now, as far as the biggest money plays, these are who the sportsbooks are rooting against. Most of the money is on the Oklahoma game to go under, Old Dominion to go over, Marshall under, Florida International over. And the biggest discrepancy is the sharp versus square. Therefore, the theory being you'd want to bet on these plays, betting with the sharps. Auburn over, Marshall under, Old Dominion over, and UConn to go over the total. We got some big bets for today, to say the least. Joe Duffy's picks, as I said, 6 winners. 6 winners are up for Saturday at picksdepot.com or the affiliated websites. We do have one for our U.S.-based bettors, one for our international bettors. But Picks Depot, among them, Joe Duffy's picks with 6 winners, including 2 highest-rated Wise Guy plays. Got a lot more coming up on this report. In fact, going to give you a free winning pick. I'm going to go with Clemson minus the 28 against Georgia Tech. As I've said, in most of the sports that I dominate, it's more about regression to the mean. More times than not, going with the colder and the inferior team works. Not so much in college football. College football, the biggest momentum sport out there. I got to let the facts guide me, not preconceptions, not biases. So college football is where I will lay the lumber more than any other sport. Big momentum angle that says to go with teams on a big route win. Of course, Georgia Tech is also off a 28-point win, but it's short of our threshold as far as what a big win is. And this angle works on both the road and at home, but especially home teams, and especially big favorites at home off of big wins or really good plays. Now, Clemson's in a spot, yes, if they do run the table, they're almost certainly going to make the playoffs. They're not going to win the Atlantic Coast Conference title and, again, go undefeated. They'll be a one-loss team in the postseason. Still, I think they're in statement mode for 2 reasons. They really got to prove to themselves. They really want to establish themselves and especially their offense. I don't think Dabo is going to empty the benches. I don't think he's going to be going to the second and third strings. If he's on the third string, we're probably going to be up by 40. Clemson's offense has a lot of talent there, but they need some work. So I don't expect this to be a case of, Georgia Tech having the back door wide open against second and third teamers. And Clemson might, as I said, be in that style point mode. Like I said, they're going to be like, too many things can happen. We already have the one loss where we scored only 3 points. Maybe we do need to make a little bit of a statement here. Remember, Tech is a team that lost in Northern Illinois. They look terrible. I think they're very vulnerable here, and Clemson's got the motivation to really run up the score. So Clemson is my free pick. And as I said, yeah, look, I look pretty, don't I? I look very pretty. Got shaved. Got my hair did, but still scratched. I shared with you, I got, what do they call it, neuropathic itching or whatever. So remember, always bet with your friends on the number of times I'm going to scratch myself. But when I scratch my hands, does that count? But, again, it's been diagnosed by a dermatologist. And let me tell you, the most beautiful dermatologist you've ever seen in your life. And I'm not kidding. All right, here are the biggest line moves. Eastern Michigan opened up as just an 18-point favorite to UMass. They're now up to 22. Coastal Carolina opened up as an 11-point favorite to Buffalo. They're up to 14. And, that's really it. That's really the most significant line moves that we have seen. I'm going to give you some computer picks from my top computer simulator. And these have factored into our picks. But I'm going to tell you what some of, if you were to just go by nothing other than the computer picks in just one moment. But let's take that complete rundown of who's hot and who has the big plays as well. The master lock line. You definitely want to go on the master lock line, to say the least, which has been part of our network for quite some time. And the master lock line gives you the highest rated plays from the highest rated sports services in their highest rated sports. And you've got some big sports service plays up on Saturday, including the clear-cut #1 football service this season, college and football combined, preseason and regular season. They've got their dead mortal lock non-conference game of the year on Auburn and Penn State, plus another one on Purdue and Notre Dame. #1 college sports service. They only do college sports, and they are the best in college sports. They've got 4 bets as well in this Saturday portfolio. 2 sides, 2 totals. You also got the #1 all-time college football service. Double best bets. You remember them from the Score Phone days. They got their double best bet, ACC double best bet of the year on Florida State versus Wake Forest. Plus, remember Stevie Vincent. He's got 5 collegiate level 5 plays, combined angles 71 and 10 in your favor. Top technical handicapper in the business. 5 college gridiron winners. 3 of these plays are level 5. All these picks are at picksdepot.com. And remember, Picks Depot has been winning since the Score Phone days. Here's who our best simulator, our best model says the best plays for this weekend would be Virginia Tech on the money line. They are getting a couple points, but we've got Virginia Tech on the money line. Again, according to my computer plays, these may or may not be part of my official plays, but I'm just telling you if we went, because I take so many things into consideration. But the best computer simulator out there also likes Indiana and Cincinnati under. Western Michigan and Pittsburgh to go over the total. SMU ATS. Air Force against the spread. LSU and Central Michigan to go over. And Oklahoma State and then Boise minus the number, and they are at 3.5. Now, one of the most common questions we get: should you buy points? I've done that study. Buying points is for suckers, and I know there's a website out there. You guys says, oh, buying points is penny on the dollar, a Square site. I mean, you shouldn't buy picks from people who consistently. I do know a couple of programmers that, under rare circumstances, buy points, but if you're paying a handicapper who consistently tells you to buy the half a point, dude, you are a sucker, and you need to go to Picks Depot right now. Well, again, the best picks out there on picksdepot.com. Make sure that you go to Picks Depot every day before placing a bet. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Depending on where you're watching or listening, we do audio and video versions of this, and I will answer any questions. You can follow me on Twitter, of course, at Picks Depot. I'll always answer any questions. Now, if you have specific questions about customer service, how to access the site, do that through the customer service thing where you're going to get a response immediately. Anything like that, do that on via picksdepot.com. If you have any questions about handicapping strategy, post them on our YouTube channel, or if you're listening on the podcast, post it on Twitter at Picks Depot.